Hello everyone, I am JessaQuimado. So today we will discuss about the poetry writing. So what is poetry? Poetry is a type of literature that conveys a thought, describes a scene, or tells a story in a concentrated, lyrical arrangement of words. Which means everyone can write a poem because there are poems that is free form, which follows no formal structure. Also, literacy work, which is special intensity, is given to the expression of feelings and ideas by the use of distinctive style or rhythm. Here are the 15 types of poetic forms which you can choose or consider when writing a poem, but I will just give some brief explanation because Group 1 already discussed these types. Number 1 is the blank verse, which is no rhyming words. Number 2 is rhyme poetry, which has rhyme poems by rhyme definitions. Number 3 is free verse, which lacks a consistent rhyme scene. 4 is epics, which is the narrative work of poetry. Number 5 is narrative poetry, which tells a story. Number 6 is haiku, which originated from Japan. 7. Pastoral poetry that concern the natural world. Number 8 is sonnet, which people write for love. Number 9 is elegies or elegy, which reflects upon the death or loss. Number 10 is ode. It's like an elegy, but ode is a tribute to its subject. Number 11 is limericks. This poetry is using a rhyme scene. And also, this is a short pithy tale of description. 12 is lyric poetry, refers to broad category of poetry that concern feelings and emotions. 13 is ballad, which is a narrative verse that can be either poetic or musical. 14 soliloquy is using monologue. Lastly is the villanelle, which is originally a variation in a pastorals. So, when writing a poem, you will choose what type of poem you will write, and it is up to us what is our preferences or what we love when writing a poem. So let's move forward to importance of writing a poetry. This style of writing may have developed to help people memorize long chains of information in the days before writing. So, when writing a poem, it helps people to easily recognize information or knowledge. It also helps your memorization skills and capabilities. It also helps you to think faster than before. Rhythm and rhyme can make the text more memorable and thus the easier to preserve for cultures that do not have a written language. So, in poetry, we can show our cultures and help others to understand what tradition or beliefs are in one country. Poetry can be written with all the same purposes as any other kind of literature: beauty, humor, storytelling, political messages, etc. Also, we can also show anything or boost our thoughts, feelings in the form of writing a poetry because it helps you to develop yourself, to be creative, imaginative, to develop yourself, and especially to express yourself. Let's move forward to 11 rules for writing good poetry. Actually, there are no official sanction rules for poetry. However, as with all creative writings, having some degree of structure can help you gain in your ideas and work productively. Here are some guidelines for those looking to take their poetry writing to the next level, or if you literally haven't written a single poem since high school, you can think of this as a beginner guide that will teach you the basics and have you writing a poetry and to explore yourself. According to Masterclass, the first rule is to read a lot of poetry. So, if you want to become a poet, start by reading poetry. You can do this in a casual way by letting the word of your favorite poems wash over you and without necessarily giving for deeper meaning. On doing this, you can get some ideas and tips on how to start your writing poetry. Number 2, listen to live poetry recitation. By listening to the sounds of good poetry, you discover the beauty of its construction, the mix of stressed syllables and unstressed syllables, alliteration and assonance, as well place internal rhymes, clever lines, break, and more. Also, this can relaxes you so you can think for a good poetry. Start small. A short poem like a haiku or a simple rhyming poem might be more attainable than diving into a narrative epic. A simple rhyming poem can be a non-intimidating entryway to a poetry writing. Don't mistake quantity for quality. A pristine 7-line free-verse poem is more impressive than sloppy, epic, and rambling poem. Don't dig in so fast. Small by small, little by little, and take your time for you to have a good poem. Number 4, don't obsess over your first line. If you don't feel you have exactly the right word to open your poem, don't give up there. Keep writing and come back to the first line when you're ready. The opening line is just one component of an overall piece of art. Don't give up and more outside importance than it needs. So keep writing and do your best. Number 5 is embrace tools. Rhyming dictionary will help you complete a poem. Use it if you need it. Don't put words you don't understand or know, because how people convey your message if you writers don't know what are the words you put in your poem. 6. Enhance the poetic form with literary devices. When writing a poem, you can use the poetic form. Use the metaphor, allegory, metonymy, imagery, and other literary devices into your poem so that you can explore yourself and be more creative when writing a poem. 7. Try telling a story with your poem. When writing a poem, it needs passion. And of course, every word you put in that poem has story to tell so that people who will read this understand the true meaning of your poem. So, number 8 is express big ideas. Always think outside the box and also be mindful that your readers have interest and sometimes they need inspiration so that they can move forward to their life and move on to what they have experienced, and so that writer will write and write and write, so this will be an inspiration to everyone. Paint with word. It is refers to producing a vivid pictures of people, objects, scenes, but the artist's medium is the written word or how they use creative words when writing a poem. Familiarize yourself with myriad form of poetry. Each different forms of poetry has its own requirements, rhymes in number of lines, meter, subject matter, and more than that make them unique from one another. So, it is important to thrive within the boundaries of the type of poetry you've chosen. Even if you eventually compose all your work as one particular poem, versatility is still a valuable skill. As a poet, you should know what are your strengths and weaknesses when writing a poem. Connect with other poets. So, a supportive community can help you brainstorm ideas. Also, they influence your state of mind as an artist and share poetry exercises that may have helped others members of the group produce great poetry. Also, in order for you to grow and to embrace new ideas, you can also share what is yours. So, poets must support each other in order for them to grow and to write more poems. That are the 11 rules for good writing poetry by Masterclass. I hope you learned something from me and I am looking forward for your poems. Here are some examples of poems. So let's move forward to another topic, which is writing sequel to stories read. There are 7 steps when writing sequels to stories read. Number 1 is don't just pick up where the last story left off. You need to create another plot twist in order for the readers to continue to read your story. Number 2, give the readers something new. Of course, readers want to think outside the box or outside the story, and also they want to wonder what will happen next. So, as a writer, you need to think unforgettable scene and will shock them at the end of every story. Number 3, make the stakes different. So, of course, reader will want to think and dig more to the story. So, give them different scene, setting, or character if needed. So, number 4, play with expectation. If you can get the past intimidation that comes with it, that's a fantastic opportunity for the writers who can compound those expectations. If you do it well, the audience will love you for do it. And readers will also give feedback and expectation with what they have read. So you must write with different emotion because not all the readers are the same and have the same feelings. So another is include at least one great new character. So don't stick to your first characters because the tendency readers will be bored in your story. Create some characters that are extraordinary. Number 6, don't be afraid to let beloved characters go. Yes, readers and viewers are drawn to a sequels because of the characters, but if you're adding new players, it won't take long for a cast to become unwieldy, and also it will be more interesting when adding a characters and exciting for the readers. So be creative. Lastly, identify what made the first book special, then offer more. Of course, you always need to think differently from the first book, and so that people will be more interested and will want it more. Here are some examples. Number 1, Into the Water by Paula Hawkins in 2017. Number 1, New York Times bestseller, Goodreads Choice Award winner for mystery and thrillers. Ink by Kathleen Alcala and Sabrina Vervollas on 2018. A story of how the power of love and community outsurvives even the grimness times. Lastly is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh on 2020. So that's the end of my report. Thank you and God bless.